Welcome back to Planetary Magic at Through the Lattice. Today, we'll be looking at Part 3, Mercury. Up to today, we've looked at the Sun, which represents the self or the ego. We've looked at the Moon, which represents our emotions, and to some degree that darker side of ourselves. Today, we're going to be looking at Mercury, the mind, our intelligence, which is manifested through our communications, which is fitting because Mercury is the messenger of the gods. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Today we're looking at Mercury, the messenger of the gods, the mind, intelligence, communication. Now, when we spoke in the previous episode on the moon, we alluded to that balance that needs to be struck within our communication. We also looked at the energies of the planets, with the sun being a masculine energy, El, Elohim, soul, the moon being a feminine energy, Luna, La, Niña. And so today, when we look at Mercury, we understand that Mercury, even in Greek mythology, is always depicted by a man. So we have another masculine energy. And when we get to Venus, we'll find again that it leapfrogs masculine, feminine, because Venus is a feminine energy. But getting back to what we spoke on and tying it together with the moon episode and how we don't want our communications to be dictated solely by our emotions, because emotions can be perceived either a negative or they can be perceived positive. But when we communicate intellectually with our intellect, then it is what it is, so to speak, because it's a factual communication. It's non-subjective. It's a non-subjective form of communication. It's communicating intelligently with facts. Now, we can, while we communicate intelligently with facts, we can bring into that some emotional words and some emotional body language. But when we speak, we want the words, we want the structure of our sentences and our communication to be on the intellectual level. But once again, there's nothing wrong with bringing emotion into it, as long as that emotion is balanced by intellect. And then again, we don't want to speak totally intellectually to where we are bland. So we want to marry the two together. We want to blend them and find that balance. And these things will come to more light when we start to look at Kabbalah, the tree of life, the energies that are indicated upon the tree of life, and where the planets have their place upon the tree of life, that great Kabbalistic glyph. And so we'll look into those things, but right now we're on the ground floor and we're building up to that. But what we want to understand, taking in the last episode with the moon and this episode with Mercury, is we want to understand and get a grasp on the fact that everything that is good has a balance. And that goes in with our communication. Now, when we looked at the moon, we looked into a lot of different things about the moon. Not everything, but a lot of things. And we looked into how things can be perceived as being negative, like that clip of the Joker in that movie. We can see how, even though he was spot on with what he was saying, because he was so diabolical in his nature, that it took on almost a feel of negativity. And that's what we want to guard against when we communicate with the outside world. And as we go through the planets and we understand what they show us and what they rule over, and then we look at those things in the light of our birth chart, our natal chart, then we can better understand ourselves and therefore better negotiate the world around us. And that's what this is all about. From Through the Lattice, I wish you namaste.